He'll always be our servant, my sister said, and parents laughed at me, but I said stop. And I shocked them when I went and stopped paying their bills. The next day I came home from work that evening, exhausted, and just wanted to crash in my room. As I reached the front door, I heard laughter. Not the usual kind, this was different. It was evil. Curious, I stayed still and listened. He will always be our servant, my sister Emily said. My parents laughed. Yeah, can you believe he actually thought we'd appreciate him paying for everything? It's like he enjoys being used. My dad chuckled. My mom joined in. Remember last month when he worked overtime just to make sure we had enough for the mortgage? What a loser, Emily added. And when I told him I needed money for the wedding, he just handed it over like a trained dog. Pathetic. They laughed and went on, talking about all the times I had bailed them out. All the times I had sacrificed to make sure they were comfortable. And they thought it was funny. I felt sick. I pushed open the door and stepped inside. Their laughter stopped immediately when they saw me. You think this is funny? My voice trembled with anger. I've done everything for this family. I paid your bills, put a roof over your heads, and this is what I get? Emily scoffed. Relax, you're overreacting. We were just talking. No, I snapped. You were laughing at me. You mocked me. You think I'm your servant? Fine. Let's see how you get along without your servant. They all stared at me. My dad rolled his eyes. Oh, come on, Terry. What are you going to do? Stop being a pushover? Please. I took a deep breath. Yes. That's exactly what I'm going to do. From now on, I'm not going to pay for anything. The mortgage? That's on you. The utilities? Figure that out. And Emily? I turned to my sister. You better find another way to pay for your wedding because I'm out. The silence was thick. My mom looked stunned. My dad narrowed his eyes. Emily's face turned red. You can't do this, she shouted. Watch me, I said. Oh, and that car you were using? That's mine. I'm taking it back. You're being selfish, my mother snapped. After all we've done for you, Dash. I laughed and shook my head. Everything you've done for me? What, treating me like a bank? Using me until I had nothing? Emily panicked. Terry, please, let's just dash. But I was done. I packed a bag that night and left, ignoring her calls and texts. 1 week later, I was free for the first time in my life. No one called me to ask for money. No one was guilting me into solving their problems. I had my own space, my own bills, and my own life. It felt strange at first, like I was waiting for them to pull me back in. Then my phone started ringing. Aunt Linda was calling. Terry, I need to talk to you. It's about your parents. I ignored her. Then my uncle left a message. They need you, Terry. They're struggling. Then more messages. Cousins, distant relatives, people I hadn't spoken to in years. Your parents are sick, Terry. You can't just abandon them. They're behind on bills. They're suffering without you. I know you're upset, but family is family. I tried to ignore it. But then my mother called. She was crying. She told me that my father had gotten sick. That they were behind on everything. That Emily was totally overwhelmed. We don't know what we're going to do without you, Terry. Please, just come home. I hesitated. Every part of me was screaming that this was manipulation, but then I thought, what if it's real? What if they really need help? So, after a week of freedom, I packed up and went back. When I got there, my mom hugged me like I had been gone for years. My dad patted me on the back like nothing had happened. Emily acted as if she had never insulted me in her life. We're so glad you came to your senses, Terry, my mom said. I didn't know how to feel. Had I made a mistake? Or had I done the right thing? The next morning, I checked my parents' finances. They weren't behind on any bills. My father wasn't sick, he had a mild cold. Emily wasn't overwhelmed, She'd spent the week out with friends. It was all a lie. They just wanted me back. Because they knew I would take care of things again. And I did. Because I didn't know how to leave. I was back for a month. A whole month of paying their bills, driving Emily around, paying for my mom's groceries and my dad's drinking. A whole month of them treating me like nothing had ever happened. At first, I told myself I was doing the right thing. That maybe I had overreacted before. Maybe I was being dramatic. Then one night I overheard something that made my blood run cold. I was in my room, exhausted after another long day at work. My parents thought I had gone to bed when my father spoke. "See? I told you he'd be back." Emily laughed. "He always does. He's too soft to leave us for good. And now everything is back to normal." My mother added, "We don't have to worry about a thing. He'll take care of it like he always does." Then my dad said something that hit me like a brick in the face. "It's funny how he actually thought he could leave. He'll never leave. He's too weak." I froze. They weren't happy that I was back because they missed me. They were happy because they had won. I wasn't their son. I was their property. I didn't sleep that night. Every moment of my life with them replayed in my mind every time they guilted me, every time they laughed at my sacrifices. Every time they made me feel like I had to be the one to hold the family together. No more. I was done. But this time, I wasn't just going to walk away. I was going to make sure they felt it. The next morning, I called my cousin Jake. "You were right," I told him. "I never should have come back." Jake didn't gloat. He just said, "Well, let's get you out of there. For real this time." We came up with a plan. I started quietly moving my things out, taking a little each day when no one was looking. I sold the car Emily had been using and kept the money for myself. I found a job in another state and signed a lease for a new apartment. I made sure every detail was taken care of. Then I waited for the perfect time. A week later, Emily's wedding planner called the house. "I need to confirm payment for the venue," she said. Emily handed me the phone as if it were my responsibility. "Terry, just give her your card." I took the phone, smiled at Emily, and said into the receiver, "Actually, there won't be any payment. My sister can find out for herself." Then I hung up. Emily's face fell in horror. "What? I'm not paying for your wedding," I said. "In fact, I'm not paying for anything anymore." My mom jumped in. "Terry, don't be ridiculous. You know we need you." "No," I said, standing up. "You use me. And I'm done." Emily's breathing became frantic. "Terry, you promised. If you don't pay, I'm going to lose the venue." I shrugged. "Sounds like your problem." Then my dad slammed his fist down on the table. "Enough! You're not leaving. You're part of this family, and that means taking care of us." I turned to him and smiled. "No. It doesn't." Then I took my house key out of my pocket, put it on the table, and walked to the door. They all started screaming. Emily was crying. My mom was screaming about how I was ruining everything. My dad was cursing me. I didn't care. I walked out, locked the door behind me, and walked away for the last time. That same week, I moved across the country. I changed my number. Blocked everyone on social media. I thought they'd come after me. But they didn't. Instead, I started getting messages from my extended family. "Terry, you have to come back. Your parents are devastated. Terry, Emily had to cancel her wedding because of you. Terry, you have abandoned your family." I ignored every one of them. Then, 3 weeks later, I got a text from Jake. "Dude, your parents are freaking out. Turns out they never really learned how to handle money because you always did it for them. They're screwed." I stared at the message for a long time. Then I turned off my phone, leaned back in my chair, and smiled. When I walked in the front door, they acted like they had missed me. My mom hugged me. My dad patted me on the back. Emily beamed as if everything was normal. "We're so glad you came to your senses, Terry," my mom said, smiling warmly. I nodded without saying anything. I told myself I was just here to help, to make sure they didn't fall apart completely. That I wouldn't be manipulated again. That night I stayed in my old room. Lying in bed, I told myself I had done the right thing. Then I heard it. Through the thin walls, their voices drifted in from the living room. "I told you he'd be back." My father chuckled. Emily laughed. "I knew it. He always comes crawling back. He can't survive without us. He actually thought he could leave." My mother added, "Poor thing. He'll never stop being our little servant." They continued to laugh. I lay there staring at the ceiling, my whole body frozen. I should have been angry. I should have stormed in and confronted them. But I didn't. Because in that moment I made a decision. I wasn't going to argue. I wasn't going to yell. I was going to make them pay. I didn't sleep that night. I lay there staring at the ceiling, listening to them laugh at me like I was some kind of joke. Like I was an idiot for coming back. Maybe I was. But this time I wasn't going to be their servant. This time I wasn't going to let them use me. This time I was going to destroy them from within. The next morning, I walked into the kitchen as if nothing had happened. "Morning," I said casually. Emily was scrolling through her phone, my mom was making coffee, and my dad was going through his mail. They barely looked up. I could feel the complacency in the air. They thought they had won. Perfectly. "I've been thinking," I started, grabbing a cup from the cupboard. "Since I'm back, maybe I should take another look at the finances. You know, help get things in order." My mother perked up immediately. "Oh, honey, that would be wonderful. We're a little behind on some things, but I'm sure you can catch up." Behind? That was an understatement. When I left, they were already struggling. They had been living on my money for years. And now they were screwed. "Yeah," I nodded. "I'll take care of it." I made sure to sound just defeated enough. Like I could slip back into my old role. Like they could relax. They had no idea what to expect. The first thing I did was transfer every last cent out of the joint accounts. They had access to the emergency fund I had set up for them. Not anymore. I transferred it to my personal account and closed it. Next, I called the bank and removed myself as a co-signer on their credit cards. What if they defaulted? Not my problem. Then I canceled every bill that was in my name: utilities, insurance, even the internet. And the best part? They didn't even notice. Because they weren't paying attention. They thought I had just fallen back in line, that I was back to taking care of everything like a good little servant. Until, of course, the power went out. Emily's wedding was only a few months away, and she was still completely dependent on me to pay for it. So I made sure that didn't happen. She had been bragging to her friends about the venue, the dress, the catering. Everything was booked, everything was perfect. Then one morning she burst into my room. "Terry, what have you done?" I looked up from my laptop, playing dumb. "What are you talking about? The venue called. They said the deposit was never paid and now they're giving the date to someone else." I blinked. "Huh. That's weird." "Weird? You were supposed to take care of this. You promised." I shrugged. "Did I?" Her face turned red. "Fix it." I leaned back in my chair. "No." For the first time in her life, she was speechless. "No," she repeated, as if she had never heard the word before. "That's right. No. Find another way to pay for it." Emily opened her mouth, then closed it. Then, like a true narcissist, she stomped out of my room and went crying to my parents. I heard her crying, my mom gasping, my dad demanding to know why I was acting out again. I just smiled. I had already emptied their bank accounts. I had already cut off any financial safety net they had. Now it was time to make them feel it. A few days later, I came home to complete chaos. The power was out. My mom was on the phone with the electric company, yelling at them. My dad was digging through a stack of overdue bills, muttering curses under his breath. Emily paced the living room, phone in hand. Adam's going to call off the wedding. He thinks I'm a mess. We can't even buy groceries. My mother whined. Terry, you have to fix this. I slowly looked around. The house was falling apart. They were falling apart. And they finally understood that they were nothing without me. I crossed my arms. Not my problem. My father slammed his fist down on the table. You ungrateful little. I cut him off. No. I'm done. I'm leaving. For good. My mother clutched her chest as if I had just stabbed her. Terry, you can't. We're your family. Emily began to sob. You can't do this to me. I walked over to the counter, grabbed my house key from my keychain, and threw it on the table. Watch me. And then I walked out the door. A week later, I was settled into my new apartment across the country. Far, far away from them. Then Jake called me, laughing hysterically. Dude, you totally broke it. I grinned. Oh? Yeah. Your dad tried to get a loan denied. Your mom tried calling relatives for money nobody's giving her a dime. And Emily? She's been ghosted by half her friends because she threw a tantrum at her bridal shower and blamed you for ruining her life. I grinned. Sounds about right. Dude, I don't think they're going to recover from this. I leaned back in my chair, feeling lighter than I had in years. Good. And for the first time in my life, I meant it. It had been months since I had spoken to my family. No phone calls. No texts. No emails. I had completely cut them off. Blocked their numbers. Moved across the country. Built a life that had nothing to do with them. At first, I expected to feel guilty. Maybe I'd have a moment of weakness, an urge to reach out to them. But I felt nothing. No sadness. No regret. Just peace. Then one afternoon, Jake called me. Dude, you're not going to believe this. I could hear the amusement in his voice. I grinned. Oh, this should be good. Desperation mode activated. So, Jake started. Since you don't want to talk to them anymore, guess who they decided to latch onto next? I grinned. Oh, let me guess, you? Bingo. He sighed. Your mom called me the other day, practically begging me to help them. I rolled my eyes. Let me guess, she suddenly needs family now that I'm gone. Jake chuckled. Word for word. She was so dramatic about it, too. Said they're struggling and don't know how to manage money without you. Gee, I wonder why. Then she says something like, if you don't help us, we might lose the house. I raised an eyebrow. Wait, they're actually going to lose the house? Not yet, Jake said. But they're circling the drain. Turns out, when you stop paying all your bills, things get really expensive. I couldn't help but laugh. Imagine that. Jake sighed. Then your dad tried to convince me that if I helped them out now, you'd eventually come around and rejoin the family. I scoffed. Not a chance in hell. I told them that, but they just kept pushing. Your mom even had the nerve to say, you don't want to be like Terry, do you? I rolled my eyes. Oh, of course I do. Because standing up for myself is a bad thing. Jake snorted. Exactly. But wait, it gets better. Guess who else called me? I already knew the answer. Emily. Yep. And you want to guess why? I grinned. Her wedding. Ding, ding, ding. Jake sighed dramatically. She tried to convince me to foot some of the bill because, she said, Terry's already ruined my life and you don't want to be like him, do you? I burst out laughing. Oh, that's pathetic. I told her no, of course. And dude, she lost it. Complete meltdown. Crying, screaming, saying I was dumping her just like you did. I shook my head. Let me guess. She ran to Adam, expecting him to fix everything. Jake let out a low whistle. Oh man, you're going to love this. So apparently Adam's family didn't like Emily already. His mother thought she was too entitled, but Adam ignored that. But after she flipped out about the wedding money, his mom told him straight out, if you marry her, you'll be making the biggest mistake of your life. I grinned. No way. Oh yeah? And guess what? What? Adam listened. I sat up. Wait, are you saying? The wedding is off. He dumped her. I let out a low whistle. Damn. She must be out of her mind. Oh, absolutely. She posted this long, dramatic rant on Facebook about how men are garbage and some people are heartless and don't care about family. I grinned. Translation: I can't manipulate anyone into fixing my life for me anymore. Exactly. For a moment neither of us spoke. I just sat there and let it all sink in. They had spent years treating me like nothing, laughing at me, using me, thinking I would never leave. And now, without me, they were falling apart. Jake sighed. So, do you feel bad about any of this? I thought about it. About how my parents were drowning in debt. About how Emily lost everything. About how they had tried to manipulate everyone around them to save them from the mess they had made. Then I smiled. Not even a little.